So today, my name is Coach JP and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do the power clean. The power clean is a very good exercise for power development, hence the name, power clean. But it is super useful for sport-specific movements, especially for power-based sports such as like football, rugby, where strength and power is going to be a really big factor. The power clean is great for developing speed and force distribution and teaching the entire body and kinetic chain to move as a singular unit. And I'm just going to teach you guys the phases first and do a little quick demo for us for our athlete here. So how this is going to work, you might move it over for me and watch me so we can do this correctly. So there's four main pieces of the power clean, or phases of the power clean that matter for us. So first we're going to be in this hinged deadlift position. We want to make sure that the bar is right over the midfoot, or just about 1 inch off the front of the shins for our starting position. We want to make sure that as we get down into the hinge, our shoulders are in front of our hands and our heads are in a forward position here. And then we're going to start our first pull. So from here, our feet are about hip width apart and we got our starting point set. From here, we're going to start our first pull, which is basically just a deadlift. We're going to come up and drag to about mid-thigh. From here, we're basically in a quarter squat, and that's the end of the first pull. We're going to then transition into our second phase where we're going to pull up. I want to make sure that my athlete is focusing on pulling out into an upright row. This way we're going to get the arms about 90 degrees and as high as we can. I don't want it to be a bicep or a reverse curl like this. So after this, we're going to pull from mid-thigh. We're going to get as high as we can. We're going to extend the hips and extend at the ankles as well, working triple extension. This is going to help our athletes in that power development if we're running forward as a lineman, getting that triple extension through, things of that nature. We're going to pull up, and then we're going to catch. We're going to swing the elbows underneath and forward, and then we want to get the elbows as far forward as we can. I'm not mobile enough to do it, but we want them as far forward here as possible, nice and straight. And then so as we catch, we're going to scoop underneath like so, and then do into the quarter squat. So for a fluid motion, we're going to start here, pull into after that first phase, into the transition triple extension, and catching underneath into that squat. And then we're just going to set back down into that quarter squat here, and then you can set it down. So let's just work it through the phases first, and then we'll have one smooth go at it. So let's do just the first pull first. Pull up with mid-thigh, good. For that starting position, good. We want you to make sure we're going to lean a little further forward, good. Whoa, not quite like that. We have the shoulders further forward, that way, good. And then pull for that first pull position, good. And then to that second pull, we're going to do that upright row. Pull the upright row, good. Make sure that head stays nice and up, forward. Pull it into the upright, and go. Pull, good, and then to the catch. And catch, yep. So we just gotta work on that elbow mobility here at the shoulder. Good. Let's do one full fluid motion on the power clean, and go. Excellent, good. The only things I would change, we just kind of work on the mobility of the shoulders, loosening the lats, making sure that those are more mobile, that we're not hindered at the elbows here, good, and we're not choking ourselves at that point. The only other thing I saw was there's a little bit overextension of the lumbar spine. That was probably to try to compensate how the elbows were doing. So since you were here, you did this instead of just things that we would work on throughout. If we wanted to fix that, we would work on tightening the core and bracing a little more as we added weight and complexity. Other than that, we would work. Ready?
No habla español.
No habla español. I swear to God. Sweet. All right, my name is Joe Purcell, and today I'm going to be coaching Caleb here, my athlete, on how to do the XL decel drill. So how this is going to work is we have a cone set up. This is 10 yards, and then the last cone back there is 5 yards away. So the opportunity this drill provides us is to work on deceleration and agility. And after this, more of a progression afterwards would be to add in a change of direction once we get to that decelerated position. This is going to be great for teaching the efficiency, not efficiency, but like strength and reactivity of the hamstrings, as well as using the stretch shortening cycle through the acceleration phase of the exercise. into the deceleration piece to work on quick feet and how well we can transition in and out of speed, basically. So what this is going to look like is we're going to have the starting blocks, we're going to have them be back in a split stance position. I don't know if you can see me. But we're going to have him start behind this cone. We're going to have him start in a split stance position with the most dominant foot. For me, that's my left foot. The most dominant foot forward. And then the back foot is going to be heel elevated. We're going to have the calf contracted and ready into that ready to sprint position with the shoulders over the knees and the front lead leg in line with the toes. The shoulders and arms are relaxed and ready to go. With that front angle, we do want a slight forward shin angle off of the knee to the ankle on that lead foot. And after that, we're going to have him accelerate as quickly as possible into the second cone and then decelerate within 5 to 7 steps into the last 5 yards. So whenever you're ready, I'll have you start. So firstly, we're just going to analyze his starting position. So we can have him start in a 3-point stance if he wants, or we can have him just be in almost like a wide receiver's running position. Ready to go? And go. Go ahead. Yeah. And then I'm going to show the other one of you going. That was just like the starting point. So the starting position was good. I think we had a little too much weight on the front toes and the lead foot, but other than that, it looked pretty solid. Set that up for me one more time. Wait until I say go. Hold on. We want to make sure this is the wrong thing. Good. You want to have that back foot primed a little bit, a little more cock. And on when you're ready, go. Accelerate, and decel. Good. For this position, especially at the very end, we want to be focusing on, as we decelerate, we're working toes, 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 and then heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe. You did a really good job of that. This is going to work really well with our dynamic athletes, especially if we're in football, baseball, track, and working with, or even basketball for that matter. Basketball is going to be using a lot of dynamic back and forth, acceleration, deceleration for scoring. And it's going to be very useful for training those phases of the sport. Action. All right, my name is JP, and I'm going to teach Caleb, my athlete over here, how to do the 4-hurdle drill. The 4-hurdle drill is a great successive locomotive plyometric drill that we're going to be doing, focusing on explosive work, getting nice and high and explosive using our reactive and elastic agility index, making sure that we're moving as quickly as possible up and through and over the hurdles. So the cues that I'm going to give him for this are stay on the balls of his feet. There's going to be very minimal knee bending, although we do want to be in an athletic position. So feet about shoulder width apart, moving through. And we're going to be jumping this way, extending through the calves, and keeping the weight in the front of our feet. What I'm going to have him do is be fairly successive with it, so there's not going to be a whole lot of rest in between each jump. So we're just going to be moving through. Don't be afraid to use the arms. Oh no! Up and through, tucking. Making sure that we land on the front of our feet first. Especially on the last jump, we're going to land on the front balls of our feet before we land and put weight into our heels at all. And then the last thing that I want him to focus on is landing through the joints, using his entire kinetic chain to distribute force as he lands. We don't want to be stiff in the hips and land like so, putting a bunch of pressure through the knee and the ankle and hip. It's going to cause injuries and have a higher probability of having a shorter career and issues later in life. So first I'm going to have you do it for me, and then we'll go over what we can fix. Go whenever you're ready. You all right? Yeah. You want to run it first? Yeah. Good. Good. Excellent. How about feel? Just a little bit. Yeah, okay. So what I noticed while he was doing this drill, the fluidity of his kinetic chain wasn't super great, where we're having the hips drop less than the shoulders. So this is not moving the same. We're having a little bit of overactivation in the hip flexors. So a good way to do that is just to dynamically stretch those out beforehand, either with the band or in a lunge position. And what I also want him to focus on is keeping the feet a little bit wider. He was really narrow, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but as far as force distribution upon landing, we want that a little bit wider so that force can transfer through the hips a little bit easier. And that way we reduce injury risk. So for the next drill, for the next attempt, what I want you to do is to come through and just land wide, and then reset. Stand all the way upright and then come through again. Good. All the way up. Good. Next one. Good. Through, swing those arms. Good counter movements. Awesome. Great work. Great work. That was a lot better than the last time. And that's how to do the 4 hurdle drill.